Diplomacy or disaster? Keir Starmer's China Gambit sparks fiery debate. The recent diplomatic engagement between UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and Chinese President Xi Jinping has ignited a fierce political debate, both within the United Kingdom and internationally. Starmer's meeting with Xi at the G20 summit in Brazil marks the first direct interaction between a British Prime Minister and the Chinese leader in 5 years, signaling a potential recalibration of UK-China relations. While proponents of the move view it as a necessary step in addressing global challenges, critics, including former Conservative Party leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith, have labelled the approach astonishingly stupid and naive. This controversy encapsulates the complex and often contradictory dynamics of modern geopolitics, where economic interests, national security, and human rights must coexist in a delicate balance. Starmer's diplomatic strategy. Starmer's decision to meet with Xi Jinping has been framed by his office as an effort to foster a strong UK-China relationship. During the meeting, Starmer reportedly emphasized the importance of collaboration on pressing global issues such as climate change, economic stability, and public health. By prioritizing dialogue, the Prime Minister aims to position the UK as an active participant in shaping global policies, rather than retreating into isolationism. Speaking to reporters after the meeting, Starmer defended his approach, stating, "The world is safer when leaders talk." His remarks underscore a pragmatic view of diplomacy, wherein engagement with adversaries or competitors is seen not as a concession but as a means to advance mutual interests while simultaneously addressing areas of contention. According to his administration, such an approach allows the UK to voice its concerns about China's human rights record and assert its stance on issues like Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Xinjiang. Not everyone shares Starmer's optimism about dialogue with Beijing. Ian Duncan Smith, a long-standing critic of the Chinese government, was quick to denounce the Prime Minister's overtures as dangerously misguided. Duncan Smith, who has faced personal sanctions from China due to his outspoken criticism of its policies, argues that engaging with the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, legitimizes its actions and undermines the UK's moral authority. China has shown time and again that it cannot be trusted to uphold international norms, Duncan Smith stated. To seek a strong relationship with a regime responsible for human rights atrocities, suppression in Hong Kong, and support for Russia's aggression in Ukraine is not just naive, it's astonishingly stupid. He further accused Starmer of jeopardizing national security by failing to address the growing influence of Chinese state-owned enterprises in critical infrastructure, such as telecommunications and energy. The broader context, UK-China relations. The UK's relationship with China has undergone significant changes over the past decade. Once described by former Prime Minister David Cameron as entering a golden era, bilateral ties have since cooled considerably. This shift reflects mounting concerns over China's domestic policies, including the repression of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang, crackdowns on pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong, and the militarization of the South China Sea. Furthermore, accusations of intellectual property theft, cyber-espionage, and economic coercion have heightened tensions. Despite these challenges, China remains one of the world's largest economies and a key trading partner for the UK. Bilateral trade reached £111 billion in 2022, making China the UK's third-largest trading partner after the European Union and the United States. For businesses and investors, maintaining stable relations with China is essential for sustaining economic growth, particularly in the wake of Brexit and the. One of the most contentious aspects of UK-China relations is the issue of human rights. Advocacy groups and international organizations have consistently condemned Beijing for its treatment of ethnic minorities, suppression of political dissent, and disregard for international law. These concerns have led some to question the morality of engaging with China on any level. Starmer's critics argue that his failure to publicly condemn China's actions during the G20 summit represents a missed opportunity to hold Beijing accountable. Leaders must stand firm against tyranny, Duncan Smith declared. By prioritizing economic interests over moral principles, we risk sending the message that human rights are negotiable. However, Starmer's allies contend that direct criticism of Xi Jinping during a high-stakes diplomatic meeting would have been counterproductive. Diplomacy is not about grandstanding, it's about finding common ground, one government source explained. Raising human rights concerns in a confrontational manner would have closed the door to future dialogue. Global implications. The debate over UK-China relations is not an isolated phenomenon. Across the globe, nations are grappling with how to engage with China in an era of great power competition. The United States has adopted a strategy of strategic competition, imposing sanctions on Chinese entities while seeking cooperation on issues like climate change. Similarly, the European Union has described China as a systemic rival but continues to pursue economic ties. For the UK, navigating this complex landscape requires balancing its commitments to allies, such as the US and NATO, with its need for economic stability. Additionally, the UK must address domestic concerns over Chinese investments in sectors like nuclear energy and 5G technology, which critics argue pose risks to national security. The controversy surrounding Starmer's meeting with Xi Jinping highlights deeper divisions within British politics. On one side are those who advocate for a hardline approach to China, emphasizing the need to protect democratic values and counter Beijing's influence. On the other side are pragmatists who argue that engagement, however imperfect, is essential for managing global challenges. This debate is emblematic of broader tensions between idealism and pragmatism in international relations. While critics like Duncan Smith emphasize the moral imperative of confronting authoritarian regimes, proponents of engagement caution against the risks of alienation and escalation. Conclusion: Keir Starmer's meeting with Xi Jinping has sparked a polarizing debate over the future of UK-China relations. While some view it as a necessary step toward addressing global challenges, others see it as a dangerous concession to a regime that undermines international norms. This controversy reflects the broader dilemmas facing democracies in the 21st century: how to reconcile economic interdependence with ideological differences, and how to engage with authoritarian powers without compromising core values. As the UK charts its path forward, it must navigate these challenges with caution and clarity, ensuring that its policies reflect both its national interests and its commitment to upholding democratic principles. Whether Starmer's strategy will yield tangible benefits or further deepen political divisions remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the stakes for the UK, and the world, could not be higher.